Hello, thank you for joining us on the news this morning on Salt Television. My name is Amaka Isejuku. Let's begin with the headlines. Governor Francis Nwifuru announces minor cabinet reshuffle. Remains of former President Muhammadu Buhari laid to rest at his country home in Daura, Katsina State. United States President Donald Trump has expressed determination to support Ukraine if deal to end the war with Russia is not reached within 50 days. Let's now bring you the details of the stories. Governor Francis Nwifuru has announced a minor cabinet reshuffle with a charge on members of the council to reflect on their stewardship to the state and redirect their focus to the vision and mission of the present administration as encapsulated in the People's Charter of Needs Manifesto. The Commissioner for Information and State Orientation, Chief Ikowa Omebe, made this call in his office while briefing newsmen on the outcome of this week's State Executive Council meeting, which held at the ESCO chambers of Government House, Ochudu Centenary City, Abakaliki. Osondu Nguta was there for Salt Television.
According to the new Commissioner for Information, Chief Ikowa Omebe, on the minor cabinet reshufflement, the former Commissioner for Information and State Orientation, Mr. Jude Okpo, is now Commissioner for Rural Development, while the former Commissioner for Rural Development, Chief Ikowa Omebe, will now man the Ministry of Information and State Orientation. Professor Paul Nwabashi, who was the Commissioner for Education, Primary and Secondary, was redeployed to Ministry of Border Peace and Conflict Resolution, while Dr. Donatus Elang, former Commissioner for Border Peace and Conflict Resolution, moves to Education, Primary and Secondary. Chief Omebe, who informed that the Chairman of the Council, Governor Nwifuru, who granted the Commissioner for Environment, Mr. Victor Chukwu, and his counterpart in the Ministry of Tertiary Education, Professor Omari Omaka, a 3-month period of grace or risk being sanctioned, further charged all council members to redouble their commitment in the discharge of their duties.
ESCO also was presented from the Ministry of Budget, Planning, Research and Monitoring. The memo also came requesting the ESCO for the approval to what they call medium-term expenditure framework, spanning from 2026 to 2028. That memo also was approved for the state over the next 3 years.
He also said that ESCO, in furtherance of the administration's resolve to provide enabling environment for industrial revolution, has approved the supply and installation of independent captive power generation plant to supply 24 hours metered electric power to specific public and private industries/institutions in the state, noting that the project is to commence with 1 unit of the plant that will generate 3 megawatts and to be situated at ICT University of Erekbe, Agbaja. According to Chief Omebe, ESCO approved the participation of Ebonyi State in the EHAD project of the federal government of Nigeria and the subsequent payment of counterpart funding for the project. He emphasized that EHAD is an acronym for Energy for Health, Education, Agriculture, Rural Development, and Transportation.
This has to do with the first phase of it. 25 primary health centers within the state shall be selected from the first component of the project of the EHAT, which has to do with primary health centers. 25 health centers within the state shall be selected for this project. Each of the health centers is going to take up to 700 million naira. In fact, it's a totality of about 17.6 billion naira projects. Within the Ministry of Finance and Economic Development, the Council also received and approved the Ebonyi State Business Enabling Reform Action Plan 2024, which indicates the progressive performance of the state in the State Action on Business Enabling Reforms program. This is intended to meet the World Bank eligibility criteria for implementation of the SABA program in 2025.
Chief Omebe further informed of ESCO's approval for the constitution of a 15-man Ebonyi State Economic Advisory Committee to be headed by Professor Bat Nnaji, with Dr. Ben Odo as Secretary. Osondo Nguta, Salt TV News.
The College of Nursing Sciences, Alice Ekweme Federal University Teaching Hospital, Abakaliki, in collaboration with the Student Union Government, SUG, has organized a Students' Week, which kicked off with a rally around the major roads within the capital city, Abakaliki, as part of activities to mark the epoch-making event. EBBC press crew, led by Charles Ole Jr., covered the event.
The The Students' Week activities, which rolled off the ground on the 14th of July 2025, are significant for raising public awareness about the vital role of nurses in healthcare, advocating improved academic nursing conditions, and maintaining physical fitness. The SUG President, College of Nursing Sciences, Alex Ekweme Federal University Teaching Hospital, Abakaleke, Mr. Maxwell Madukwe, said it's a week mapped out for nursing students to engage themselves with varieties of programs that will make them actively productive as youths and the future leaders. Mr. Madukwe expressed gratitude to Governor Francis Nwifuru for making health institutions and education priority in his administration, especially scholarship scheme of indigenous students who are studying in various universities abroad, and described him as student-friendly governor.
We are having what we call Student Week. It is a week where the students come and express themselves, where there is no lectures, and will come and have different variety of events, ranging from Larry to dinner night, to cultural day, to entrepreneurship, and the rest of it. And there is no way you make the youth the future of tomorrow if you don't engage them actively in something that will make them productive. And this is a way to encourage them to become entrepreneurs in nature. Because no matter how we want to do it, what makes our school or our nation to move forward is how many entrepreneurs we have. So that's a way to encourage the entrepreneurship spirit in the students.
The students, including Miss Chidima Osai and Miss Flora Njoko, expressed their joyful mood for being part of the Students' Week celebration, adding that encourages motivational discussions and initiatives to support and improve nursing profession in the state and beyond.
It's Nurses Week. I feel so excited. It's so amazing. Today marks the beginning of our Students' Week. You know, we work so hard, we read, so we just decided to carve out a week to celebrate ourselves, have fun, and reach out to the community at large.
It is expected that the Student Week would be rounded off on the 20th of July 2025 with so many activities, including Old School Costume Day, Entrepreneurship, Sports Cultural Day, and Bonfire Night, Dinner and Award Night, Community Mobilization, and Thanksgiving Service. Charles Olejino for Salt TV News.
It was an expression of oneness and inseparable bond as the people of Ezza clan celebrated their cultural heritage known as Okakwe New Yam Festival. In the spirit of the New Yam Festival, our reporter Chidebere Nwori sampled the opinions of some people on the significance of the festival. The report.
Okakwe is the New Yam Festival that brings sons and daughters of Ezza clan together for celebration to thank God for a bumper harvest, unity, and better life that is yet to come. The festival is full of tradition, visitation, and heartfelt act of charity, which shows how Ezza people hold themselves as one indivisible family and how they respect God who provides for them. The Commissioner for Commerce, Industry and Business Development, Chief Augusto Ofianwali, said, Okaku New Yam Festival fosters more peace, unity, and brotherliness among Ezza people living in different parts of the world.
The existence of mankind is culture, and the culture is what we are celebrating today because it is the remembrance of what about us.
The Commissioner for Housing and Urban Development, Mr. Francis Ori, and his water resources counterpart, Mr. Chinedum Nka, said culture is a form of identity and unifying factor for a given people in a geographical setting, and urged people of the state to always embrace their cultural heritage.
Culture is one thing we cannot do without. In short, is the way the people live their life. And I want to encourage every community, every crown in Ebonyi State to uphold their culture.
If you follow the culture of Igbo land, you will not be party to any vices because you be afraid of the gods.
Others, including Mr. Samson Obaji and Mr. Christian Nwale, both from Amweka Autonomous Community in Ezza South Local Government Area, emphasized that Okaku New Yam Festival is a time for reflection, reconciliation, and thanksgiving, fostering sense of shared identity among the Ezza clan.
By coming home, we enable you to understand what your culture is all about. You can't just be rolling inside the town and be saying that culture is nothing.
Okaku Ezza signifies the end of the old yam harvest period and the beginning of the new yam harvest and new year. For Salt TV News, I am Chidebere Molie.
The United Nations Development Programme UNDP has advocated an integrated sustainable planning approach in achieving government goals. A consultant of UNDP, Mr. Kalu Okwa, made the advocacy during the inauguration of a 2-week stakeholders consultation and needs assessment program on the preparation of Ebonyi State's development plan, organized in collaboration with the Sustainable Development Goals in Abakaliki. Government House correspondent Pauline Wanerienwe has details.
The consultant United Nations Development Programme, Mr. Kalokwa, who spoke on the overview of development planning process, stated that an integrated approach was needed in achieving socio-economic growth and development of the state. According to Okwa, adequate planning and monitoring improve service delivery, while lack of monitoring and evaluation breed corruption and mismanagement in the system.
Or is a concept difficult to define to the satisfaction of everybody. And this is a simple fact. What I consider as development may not be what Mr. Dan considers as development, may not be what each and every one of us here considers.
The chairman, technical committee and commissioner for budget and planning, Mrs. Chinwoka, and the senior special assistant to the governor on sustainable development goals, Mrs. Esther Mora, urged participants to ensure that the goals were realizable for economic growth and development of the state.
What you witness today is what we call state plan on SDG. That's a plan that we have already set in place. The state wants to synchronize it so that they will have their own input in the plan. So this is a partnership business with UNDP program, and we attracted it to the state. So we are trying to combine the plans of the UNDP with the state plan.
That's why the women here, the traditional rulers, the civil society organization, and those in government.
The ex-White Commissioner for Rural Development, Mr. Iku Womebe, the Chairman, Ikwo Local Government Council, Mr. Sunday Wankwo, and the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Finance, Mrs. Inform Williams, appreciated the State Governor, Chief Francis Nwifuru, for his proactiveness in attracting the 10-year plan to reduce poverty in the state.
SDG is really here to think on best way to plan for the development of the state, both short-term and long-term planning for the development of the state. So I want to commend the leadership of SDG Ebonyi State, because if a nation or people fail to plan, they will plan to fail.
I learned the need for continuity in planning, and so for me, it is high commendation for His Excellency Right Honorable President Francis Obonemu for also adopting what they're already preaching today. And I want to thank the SDG department that is representing the government in this process for their commitment to it.
Some of the participants, Mr. Chukwude Obasi and Mrs. Fortuna Oke, while stating the importance of planning, called for continuity in the execution of projects to avoid abandonment of life-saving capital development projects.
What I want government to do is, just like we talked about, continuity, because over time we've experienced where after a plan is developed, then at the end of the plan will not be followed by successive government, thereby leading to many abandoned projects.
Planning is necessary, whatever one is trying to achieve. Our governor is toying to what other governors could not complete, is lining up to it to make sure that no project is abandoned.
Participants were drawn from ministries, local government areas, civil society organizations, traditional institutions, and persons with disabilities. Pauline Nwanerienwe, Salt TV News.
We'll take a break now. When we return, we'll have more stories for you. Please stay. Glad to know you're still there. The body of former President Muhammadu Buhari has been laid to rest at his residence in Katsina State. President Bola Tinubu, Vice President Kashim Shettima joined thousands of sympathizers to lay the remains of the late president to rest. They were joined by the Chadian President Muhammad Debi and his counterpart from Guinea-Bissau, Umaru Sissoco, as well as the Prime Minister of Niger Republic, Ali Mohammed. In attendance also were the Deputy Senate President, Senator Barao Jibrin, serving and former governors, former and serving ministers, among many other top dignitaries. The funeral prayer, which was observed at the helipad area of the former president's hometown, was led by the Chief Imam of Daura, Sheikh Salisu Rabiu. The body arrived Katsina at about 2 p.m. and was transported by road around 3:40 p.m. Buhari's gun salute was fired at exactly 5:32 p.m. to 5:35 and was laid to rest around 6 p.m. Former President Muhammadu Buhari passed away on Sunday, July 13, 2025 in a London hospital. The Taraba State Police Command said that it foiled a kidnap attempt by hoodlums along the Wokari-Katsina Highway. Disclosing this in a statement, the command spokesman James Lashen said the police swung into action after receiving a distress call that an 18-seater bus belonging to a private company was intercepted by suspected armed kidnappers along the highway shortly after the Federal University, Wokari.
Emmanuel Brittet commended the white vehicle with registration number, reaffirmed the command's commitment in collaboration with sister security agencies to fighting the menace of kidnapping in the state.
China's economy has beaten expectations, even as U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs and a prolonged crisis in the property market weigh on growth. Official figures show the world's second-largest economy grew by 5.2% in the 3 months to the end of June, compared to the same time last year, and that's better than the 5.1% forecast by many economists, but lower than the previous quarters.
The country has so far avoided a sharp downturn, partly due to measures announced by Beijing to help support the economy and a fragile trade truce with Washington. The economy withstood pressure and made steady improvement despite challenges, said China's National Bureau of Statistics in a statement. Officials said economic growth was helped by a 6.4% expansion in manufacturing with higher demand for 3D printing devices, electric vehicles, and industrial robots.
And that's it on the news, but before we go, let's give you a recap of our major stories. Governor Francis Nwifuru has announced a minor cabinet reshuffle in the state. The affected ministries include the Ministry of Information, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Border Peace and Conflict Resolution, as well as the Ministry for Rural Development. The remains of former President Muhammadu Buhari has departed London, the United Kingdom, for Daura, Katsina State, ahead of a state burial that has actually been overtaken by events. The burial actually took place at around 6 p.m. yesterday in Daura in Katsina State. United States President Donald Trump has announced the U.S. will send top-of-the-line weapons to Ukraine. That's the news. Many thanks for watching. My name is Amaka Izuchukwu.